Yo, what is going on, guys? So I came across this article and I thought to myself, you know what? This is so incredibly stupid that I just absolutely had to cover it. Okay, so this is from a website called Your Tango, and it's written by a woman named Jo Amoya. And this whole website is full of really stupid articles just like this one. So this one here is titled 5 Disturbingly Common Reasons Women Who Are Great Catchers Are Still Single. Many great women are still single, and here's why. Now, you already know before we even jump into the article that a lot of this is going to be completely inaccurate. It's never going to talk about what men might want or what men might be interested in out of the people that they date. But of course, this is something that's really common these days, guys, is you have a whole bunch of women who think that they are the best gift to the face of the planet since sliced bread, and yet they're all just single for some unbeknownst reason, okay? But this article is going to go over some of those reasons. So let's just jump into it. I thought this was absolutely hilarious. Before we even continue, I want to read some of these other tabs that they have up the top here. Quotes, love, zodiac, horoscope. What else have we got here? Heartbreak and expert advice. This is shocking. So let's jump into the article here. When it comes to dating, there are a certain number of women who feel that because they are a good catch, the relationship gods are being cruel to them. Yes, of course, guys, you know, the better of a person you are, the harder dating is for you. You know, I can't understand why some of these women might be single. This is like saying, you know, I have this fantastic car and I'm trying to sell it, but because it is such a great car, nobody wants to buy it. This makes absolutely no sense. A lot of these people, they think that they're great catchers, but if the men don't want to date them, and if the men don't want relationships, or they don't want to marry them, then are they really actually good catchers in the first place? That's the question you have to ask yourself, right? If nobody wants to have a relationship with you, are you really as good of a catch as you might think? They look around at their friends and loved ones who are happily married or in relationships and think that they have been cursed because they don't have that special someone to share their life with. I can understand. If everyone is telling you what a great catch you are, but you still haven't found that special someone to share your life with, you might want to look at the following list. Based on my experiences, these are the only reasons a woman is a good catch and still single. So we'll jump into some of these in a moment here. But of course, I just love in the middle of this, by the way, I want to point out that a lot of these women, they think that they have, you know, good friends and people who are doing right by them, but oftentimes that isn't the case. You have their friends in their ear telling them that they are fantastic the whole time. Like, oh, don't worry, Samantha, you'll find your boyfriend eventually. You'll find your Prince Charming. You're a fantastic person, you know? And the reason why men don't approach you, or the reason why men don't want to have relationships with you, is just because you're single. I mean, excuse me, not single, intimidating. I mean, we've heard this all before, right? Men aren't approaching women because they're just too intimidating and they're just too fantastic. But let's jump into some of these reasons here. And I think I can actually agree with this first one here. Maybe even the second one. But as we go down, it gets worse, I believe. So this first one right here, she is not over, let me just zoom in a little bit. She is not over her past. Once we have had our hearts broken, it is very hard to let go of that memory because of the fear that it will happen again. When we are little, we learn that if we touch the stove, we get burned. The pain of that one experience lets us know that if we touch hot things, we feel pain. So already, guys, we are lost in the source here. We are making no sense. I'll come back to that in a second. As a result, we quickly learn to avoid these things which are hot. When it comes to dating, being burned often causes us to avoid situations or relationships where we fear it may happen again. So this looked like it would actually make sense as a point, but really it doesn't. A lot of these women really do want relationships. They like to play it up as though they are commitment phobic because they don't want to get their heart broken, but that really isn't the case. A lot of these women are typically just thinking of dudes that they've been with previously. They are unable to hold a relationship together because they're always thinking about some other dude, even while they're with their boyfriend, if they have one. So it never really works out. Okay, when this point here said she's not over her past, I thought it was going to talk some sense, but of course, my bad, it doesn't. Let's keep going here. She makes bad choices. Okay, potentially promising. Let's see what it has to say. One of the things I learned in my journey, there's that journey word again, was that I was responsible for the choices I made or didn't make in my relationships. If I had a bad relationship, it was because I chose to be with someone who didn't make me happy. It wasn't their fault, it was mine. The results of our lives are in direct proportion to the quality of our choices and decisions. Okay, personal accountability. If you are currently single and you are frustrated with the men you have been involved with, you might want to see where the choices you made helped contribute to your misery. So in short here, I actually agree with this point, guys. They're choosing terrible men. A lot of the men that women actually chase these days, like if you talk to the women and actually have discussions with them about it, they will tell you that the men that they chase, you know, these guys are not necessarily the most upstanding citizens. They don't have the most fantastic morals and things like this. I mean, even if the dude does, she'll still say that he doesn't have good morals, by the way, but that's another story. But yes, the women choose the men that they have relationships with. Oftentimes, they choose very damn badly. But let's continue here. She's waiting for love to happen to her. The odds that the doorbell, is going to ring and the cable guy is going to walk in and be the man of your dreams is very slim. You can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket, and you can't get in shape just by joining a gym. Just because you joined an online dating site and you have filled up your profile doesn't mean it's going to happen for you. I would actually argue, guys, that yeah, online dating is fairly questionable. But as a woman, love most certainly can happen to you, right? I see this argument all the time of like, oh, I need to go out there and make things happen. I'm not actually a huge believer in this, guys. I think, I mean, a lot of dudes these days are opting out. They're not approaching as much anymore and things like this. But I think if you're a woman and you're trying to get a relationship and you have to be in 35 different places because men aren't approaching you, that might be a little bit of a you problem right there. And oftentimes the dudes who aren't going to approach you anyway probably don't want a relationship with you to begin with. Let's keep going here. I want to note, guys, as we continue through here, we're up to point number 4 already, okay? And not once have we discussed what men might want, by the way. I've told you this in all of these articles, guys. You have all of these points, but not once do we ever discuss, hey, maybe I'm single because I don't actually offer anything that men might be interested in. There's no talk of feminine characteristics or being a pleasant person or being somebody who's nice to be around. There's no talk of any sort of feminine skills like cooking or cleaning whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that women have to be in the kitchen or anything like this, but there's no mention of anything that has to do with making a man's life easier or presenting him with something that he might be interested in. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? We are in an article here as to why, quote unquote, great women are single, but we don't talk about any of the characteristics that they might lack at all, right? Or the things that men might be interested in. And this is why so many of these people are lost, right? It's the equivalent of trying to sell a damn car, and you never actually ask what people might be interested in when they're looking to buy a car. And then you're surprised when you can't sell it. It makes absolutely no sense. But let's continue into point number 4 here. She is afraid of being vulnerable. Yeah, I don't really buy this one either. One of the interesting things about finding love is that you can't find it if you don't make yourself vulnerable. Being uncomfortable and going into the world of the unknown is something that most human beings abhor. Instead of feeling the fear and doing it anyway, most humans retreat and go back into the world of what they know and what they are comfortable with. Research from 2022 states how vital being vulnerable is for emotional intimacy. Okay, now we're just making stuff up here. The irony is it becomes much more difficult for a person to experience the wonders of finding love if they do not make themselves vulnerable. Yes, it is a risk, but the reward is so worth it. That is how life works. You can't get the good fruit unless you are willing to go out on a limb. You know, I see these things all the time as well. Oh, you need to make yourself vulnerable. Again, I think women are trying to get into relationships with the men that they want all of the damn time. They don't care about making themselves vulnerable. They don't care about the risks, right? If the dude is attractive enough, they will show up at his house, you know? Screw the risks. It will absolutely happen. So I don't buy this whole crap either, guys. I think women these days are more inclined to put themselves in more vulnerable positions, emotional and otherwise, than they ever have been ever. So this is a bit ridiculous here. Now, point number 5. This is a crazy one. It's not the right time yet. Is this written by a dude? There is no way. There is no way. Or is this a gay woman? I can't tell. It's not the right time yet. Let's take a listen. My wife and I often joke about how grateful we are that we didn't get married earlier in life. As both of us were products of close-knit Italian families, we had both wanted to get married earlier in life. By the time we had met in our mid-30s, both of us had thought that we would have been married and had a couple of kids. Upon reflection, we realized that it was so much better that we didn't get married younger. We were not ready or prepared for the commitment of spending the rest of our lives with someone. I mean, this is just the kind of talk that people make, I personally think, when they want to go around and live up their life all throughout their 20s. They want to screw around with different people. They want to go traveling. We all know what that means. And things like this, right? People who are like, oh, I don't want to get married super young, maybe when I'm 35. This is the talk that you typically hear from women who want to put off getting married as long as possible so that they can screw around all throughout their 20s. Let's keep going here. We also realized that by getting married later in life, we were able to experience things and go to places that would not have been possible had we settled down in our 20s like we had planned. By the time we did meet, we were ready and better prepared to experience the next chapters of our lives because the previous chapters had been completed. I love how people who are incredibly delusional, they always use words like journey and chapters and things like this. You can tell the people who are completely nuts just by the type of language that they use, right? Journey, chapters of our life. I don't know people who are sensible who use language like this. I don't think I can think of a single one, actually, that I know personally who says words like chapters and journey and healing and all of this crap. I strongly believe that if your true heart desires to find someone special to share your life with, and you are ready emotionally for that person, you will find them when the time is right for you. In the big scope of life, what's the difference if you spend 45 years with someone or 40 with them? What matters most is that you ultimately find that special someone, because when you do, the past no longer matters. Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you here, Chief, okay? Because when you do, the past no longer matters. Again, past is something that always matters. This is why so many of these women who get to 35, 40 years of age, they try and settle down, they try and have relationships, and either the dudes don't want them, or when they do get in relationships, they completely sabotage it because they're still thinking of somebody who they were previously with. The past absolutely matters. People don't want to recognize this. They refuse to ever talk about it, but your past absolutely matters. I don't know if this is a gay woman who's writing this article. I don't know if it is a dude who was writing this because they said they were married to their wife, but either way, this is absolutely crazy. And by the way, guys, let me just remind you as well, this is an article about why women who are great catchers are still single, and the final point here is that it's not the right time. Like, are we just going to continue to lie to women and tell them this nonsense? Oh, don't worry, Betty, you'll find the love of your life. So what, you're 65? Hey, maybe when you're 70, you'll find your Prince Charming. But you know what? What's 5 less years with the love of your life? At least you found them in the end. Yeah, this doesn't bode so well to me personally. And guys, this whole website is full of really, really stupid articles. We might actually just continue straight on to the next one. We'll make it a double episode. This is absolutely crazy. I love how this page, by the way, it links the articles together. So if you want to read more nonsense, all you have to do is just scroll down. So check this one out, okay? I can't even read this without laughing. Psychology says there is 3 simple ways to attract any kind of man that you want. Check this out. How to be intimate with yourself so that you can attract others to you. I mean, need I say more? And of course, guys, okay, 3 simple ways to attract any kind of man that you want. Let's take a bet here that they don't actually say really what men are looking for. Let's have a look here. While being intimate is amazing and pleasurable, if intimacy is what you truly desire, then being physical without it will feel empty. What did we just say, man? Am I like getting old? Am I just unable to read or something like this? What does this even mean? Some people, they sit down, they write these articles, and they will write sentences that when I read them, I don't even know what the hell I've just read. While being intimate is amazing and pleasurable, if intimacy is what you truly desire, then being physical without it will feel empty. What? Can somebody translate that for me in the comments? I have no idea what the hell that person just said. Who is this written by the way? Let's have a look. Bonnie Gale. Let's see what Bonnie has to say here. We may think emotions are created by what we see and sense around us, but actually they're triggered by our own thinking. They come from within. Therefore, the more affectionate and loving you can be with yourself, the more intimate you will feel towards yourself and with others. Guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about, by the way. Where, like, anytime you come across these, this, like, female dating advice on how to get a man, it's never about providing something that the man might be interested in. It is always about how can you quote unquote love yourself more and give yourself more as a woman. It's all about getting clear on what you want, loving yourself, all of this kind of thing, which essentially to me translates to just being more narcissistic than you were previously. It's crazy, guys. You look at men's dating advice, you know what happens when you look at men's dating advice? Men's dating advice is like, hey bro, you're fat, get in the gym. You know what I mean? That's like one of the first things you are told. Get in the gym, go make money, dress better. But for women, it's like, yeah, you've just got to learn to love yourself, you know? It's just crazy. Let's continue here. So here are 3 tips to attract the man of your dreams. Are you ready, guys? Number 1, get out of your head and into your body. There is nothing more attractive than watching a woman who is in touch with her body, comfortable and confident in her skin. A woman who knows what she's got and flaunts it at any size, shape, or age is rocking her intimacy. Oh boy. Oh no. Yeah, this is guys, sometimes I read this stuff and I think to myself, this is actually really sad for women because we're just out here lying to women. You know, it doesn't matter if you're overweight. It doesn't matter if you're 65 years of age. What's important is that you are confident in your body and you are flaunting it regardless. This is actually very counterintuitive to getting a man, by the way. I have said this on the channel many times. These people will never listen, by the way. But dudes, we aren't really looking for some woman who's out there flaunting it, as it were. Hell, confidence isn't even a requirement for most men. They don't care. In fact, a lot of guys would prefer if they had a shy girlfriend or someone who wasn't confident going out there talking with everybody who's completely extroverted and things like this. This is just ridiculous. This is not only is this a stupid point, it's actually just straight up incorrect. Oh, no way. It gets worse. I didn't even read this sentence. Activities like pole dancing, burlesque, or a spicy photo shoot can also help a woman reconnect with her body. If that's too big of a leap, then start with a cute pair of PJs. I'm not going to even read the rest of this here, man. So let me get this straight. In order to attract any kind of man you want, you need to get into pole dancing, burlesque, or spicy photo shoots. Now, let me just say this, guys. This is what I'm talking about when I say that oftentimes women are very much unable to differentiate between getting attention from a guy and actually getting a relationship out of him. Now, you might get attention from a man if you do this, but trust me when I say you are going to actually struggle more getting a relationship out of this same man. This is why so many women, they jump on TikTok and they're like, dating men is so confusing. They act like they're interested in me, but then I find out that we have different life paths. And what this really means is that the men don't want to commit to you because you're out here, in the words of this article, flaunting it to randoms. Dudes don't want this, guys. They don't want to date women who are flaunting it to a bunch of different dudes. Again, this applies to things like Instagram. You have women who post themselves on Instagram wearing the most questionable crap, and then they wonder why dudes don't want to have committed relationships with them. And by the way, if you disagree or you say that it's silly, then apparently you don't like women. So if I get on the internet, guys, and I say, hey, I think it's better for women to respect themselves, they're more likely to get a relationship out of a guy if they respect themselves, then apparently I'm the one that doesn't like women. Make that make sense. Let's continue here. Practice good hygiene. I mean, I suppose. This just comes with being an adult, I suppose. I don't understand why this makes the article. I would actually argue that the reason why a lot of these women don't get relationships out of men is not their hygiene issues, by the way. Not their hygiene issues. I'm not going to even read this one. Okay, let's check this out. Take notice of the intimacy signals a man sends. as you relish in your personal intimacy. I actually feel uncomfortable reading this article, by the way. Take notice of the intimacy around you. Look at the soft touch of a man's hand on his wife's lower back. Research from 2023 confirms that showing affection to your partner can help heighten feelings of intimacy and commitment. Well, I mean, obviously. Smile at the sweet kiss the woman nearby planted on her boyfriend's cheek, which provoked that intimate look between them. Notice what it is that you love about love. I mean, these people are so lost, man. They must be, I don't know what on earth they are smoking in order to write articles like this. Not only does this not help women, I think it actively ruins or prevents women from having relationships with men in the first place. But guys, we're going to be leaving it there. I'm getting a headache. I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable reading this damn article. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think are actually the common reasons women who are quote-unquote great catchers are still single? Guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.